I'm Elena Sherwood. I'm Dr. Elena Sherwood. I have a YouTube channel here, and I love giving free relationship advice when I can. So I have now made this a regular segment of my YouTube channel. If you are catching this on a replay, please be a little bit patient. Sometimes it takes us a while to get going, and sometimes it doesn't, but rest assured there will be many nuggets for you to walk away with in terms of relationships. If you do have questions, feel free to pose them in the comments, and I will do my very, very best to answer them as quickly as I can. So today I am going to, it's going to be a little choppy. I am still getting used to doing lives again. So again, more of your patience, please. So I'm going to get started and answer one question. I have a few questions here, but if people come in and have questions that I believe should be answered right away or that I can answer right away, I most certainly will. So the first question I'm going to ask I'm going to answer is a question I got in one of my comments on my channel. Oh, I'm so excited. Woo! I get so excited when I come live, and I'm really trying my very, very best to give you the best information I can. All right, so the first one is on emotional burnout. For those of you who don't know, emotional burnout is just when you're just exhausted and you're numb and you become too reactive or you're not reactive at all, usually to do with a relationship. Well, not usually, but this one is in the context of relationships. So that's emotional burnout. It's too much, you're done. So in cases of emotional burnout in a long distance relationship, is it useful to completely or almost completely limit contact with a partner for a week or longer? And I didn't copy the other part, but when is it good and when is it bad? So I really want to address this because long distance is a very common thing that many of us have to go through, sometimes when we're already in a relationship long term, or sometimes when we are just in the beginning of a relationship. Okay, let me just be really clear about something here. When you're in an intimate relationship, people call it a romantic relationship, people call it whatever you call it, committed. When you're in a relationship, and I want to call them intimate because I do believe that the point of being in a relationship is to have that intimate connection between two. That's me. And this is just someone who's seen a lot of marriages, and I've seen why they fall apart, and I've seen people struggle with getting that going, which is usually the cause of a lot of heartache. So when we're talking about long distance, there's already a lot of distance between you. We know that, right? Thanks for the thumbs up. Thanks for coming in. And so I'm okay. I'm okay with some space. I'm okay with needing some silence. I'm okay with needing a little bit of breathing room from your partner in terms of contact, no contact, any of that. I get it. But we must remember that we're talking about emotional burnout in relationships for those just coming in. And when is it okay? Is it good to kind of have a longer extended break, like a week of no contact, or what's good, what's bad? So I'm going back to that in terms of I'm okay with having some space in terms of please don't contact me for a little while. But you have to remember that the point of that is to regulate yourself, not to teach someone a lesson and make them think about their behaviors, not to punish them, not to make them feel what it's like to not be with you, to not have you. And so there we go. The point is to regulate. If I need space from my husband when he's away, it's like, this is for me to regulate my own emotions. However, regulating one's emotions is something we are all responsible to do, and we can't spend all of our time regulating our emotions and then use that as a reason to push someone away. Because guess what? the more distance there is between the two of you, the more emotional, the less likely there is for that intimate connection to grow. When you're not talking to each other, you're not learning more and more about each other's perspective. And so I worry about partners who use distance, silence, give me some space as a way to cope in a relationship. Let me try this a few more times because this is really, really important, everyone. I need for people to hear this. Do what you need to do to settle your emotions. But if all you're doing is highly reacting to each other, then there might be a bigger issue in terms of feeling trapped in the way you are relating. So if I could crown myself anything, it would be like a relationship dynamics queen, because this is something that I have seen over and over again. What happens when she says this, when they do that? What keeps kind of looping here? And that's where I try to break that pattern and introduce the new skills they both need to do this better. So I am here if you have any questions that I can answer. I would happily do that. There we go. All right. So this actually brings me to the other question that I want to answer that came up in my comments. And that one was on a video I have on emotional abuse. How can I tell if it's me who's being emotionally abusive? Because what if both of us feel that the other one is being emotionally abusive? I need for everybody to sit with this question a little bit because it is very easy to appear emotionally abusive. This is why I'm going through great lengths, because once you label your partner emotionally abusive, that might be all you see in them. And then you stop understanding other things about them because you're abusive. And then it becomes you're back and forth labeling and you're not learning how to connect. So I would really love it if people could just kind of slow down, because sometimes this brings up another topic that somebody else brought up as a comment. She gave me a really long story about what it was like. And unfortunately, her husband passed away. But this is what she said. Thanks again for your video. It was really comforting to hear that we were just two imperfect people trying to navigate a life together with love. Because sometimes we just have so much pain that it comes into our relationships and we don't mean to. And sometimes our partner will remind us of other pains we've had. And sometimes we will do that too. So we can have relationships where you're both kind of explosive and reacting to each other. And then the sad part is you both really want to be together and you really want to connect. So that's my little soapbox on that, because sometimes it's abuse and sometimes it is not, which is why, again, I'm doing a lot of content on that. Okay, we got some topics here coming up. Thank you, everybody who's here. I'm glad you're here. Thanks for all the hearts and the likes. Oh my gosh, you guys are awesome. All right, what do I see here? Easy. Be honest with yourself and check if you're making the moves and choices first. Yes. And I love that advice. And that's something that I encourage everyone to do is check yourself. Examine yourself. Listen to what your partner's feedback, what your husband, what your wife's feedback might be towards you, and what if there was a little bit of truth in what they're trying to tell you. It is a big ask to reflect on how you may not be the healthiest partner sometimes. It's hard. It's hard. And so, yeah, I know it's a lot, but imagine if we could all just kind of look into ourselves and kind of correct all the things. But unfortunately, it's not so easy, right? Can the abuse Can the abuser regret one day? Yes, it's possible. Just like abuse or not, there are things that I have done that might not have been the healthiest, and I regret them, because that's what relationships, that's what the human condition is all about. So yes, now it doesn't mean that it will naturally change and then you will hear I so regret and now I'm a changed person. There's a lot to that, and I don't really want to get into that because that's a really complicated nest there that is going to take me a lot of time that and anyway, all right, let me make sure. Can the abuser regret? Yes. Who are you? I'm Dr. Elena Sherwood. I was a couples therapist, a licensed couples therapist for 35 years. I am now a relationship coach, and I have also been married myself to the same man, and we're going on 33 years in May, plus the couple of years in there where we were together before we were married. Okay. Are you igniting something with your actions? Then you're the abuse. Okay. Are you igniting something with your actions? Then you're the abusive one poking a bear. I would love for couples to reach a point where they can freely and kindly speak up about what they need and what they are experiencing without being called stop poking a bear. Now, let's be honest here. We are adults, and sometimes we don't behave like adults, and we're kind of childish, and we are poking a bear because humans can get a little bit nasty sometimes. So I invite everyone to reflect before you speak up. What are you looking for here? Are you looking for a way to tell your husband, your partner, your wife, your significant other another way that they are failing you? Or is there something important that you want them to hear from you that you would love to invite into an adult, mature conversation? And that goes the other way. And thank you for all the hearts. Oh my gosh, you guys are awesome. And that goes the other way. And that when your partner is coming at you, when your husband, your wife, your significant other is bringing up something, might you sometimes be the one who goes, stop poking a bear. We already talked about that. Go away. Because sometimes we're tired and we're irritable and we're hungry and we're cold or we're hot. And so I invite everybody to reflect upon how they are interacting in their own relationships. Okay, intention will always be the most important thing. Yes, there we go. That just goes with what I just said. That always shows if or when people break up. You'll see the paths differ and whose intentions led them to positivity or a whole. Yes, that's kind of, sometimes you see it after, right? Man, they were never really in it. Or man, I'm sorry that, he was more in it than I really was, or I was more in it. Like, yeah, absolutely. You learn a lot after the breakups. Unfortunately, more than. All right, 33 years. Congratulations. Yes, it has been. Can I give my girlfriend space? I also said hi. If your girlfriend wants space, absolutely. Is she asking for it? And I would also invite you to ask why, just in case there is something that you can proactively work on or deal with or relate to her so she won't need space from you. It's very important to honor what our partners say to us that they need. It also helps if and when you respect them enough to try and understand what it is they need from you specifically. Because sometimes somebody will say, I need some space. Like I've done this where I've told my husband, oh my God, just kind of back off a little bit. I need a little bit of room here. But really what I needed for him to do is maybe lower his voice. Maybe stop. You're not listening to me. Like if my head could say freely, you're not listening to me. I feel like you're just dismissing everything I'm saying. You sound like you know everything and I don't. Like there's a lot going on. And sometimes it's good. I prefer that people learn how to navigate the temperature so you can both hear and accept each other's side. Because that's how intimacy builds, which is, after all, the point of intimate relationships, according to me. That's what I think. Thank you. If a man loses his job, could that really lead to a breakup from his side? Or should I just accept that he didn't like me? Don't know how understanding I should be. Excellent question. Based on solely on what you've said, I do not believe that job loss is cause for the end of a relationship, because married people, this happens all the time. Committed relationships, there is all kinds of fluctuation and changes in jobs and losing. It's like saying, okay, I lost something. Okay, I lost a family member. Now we got to break up. No, because now it could be that there are other hidden issues here, and that if a person uses that as the reason they break up, first thing I do is let them go. Because if you want out, there's the door. To me, according to me, it's about self-respect, unless they really want to talk about it. But it could be, it does not compute for me. I've lost my job. My husband, the employment status is not, life is full of things we lose, things we win, things we gain, things we adapt. And job loss is not a good enough reason, according to me. And again, I wouldn't, anyway, if they're not open to talking about why, and, my ego is, I don't think I can provide. I don't think, now I can't afford to come and see you and all of that. Sure, if there's conversation happening there, but if it's a quick, lost my job, goodbye, good riddance. Who's this lady? God bless your heart. I'm going to be a father soon. Congratulations. I'm guessing, how do I navigate supporting my wife during labor? Very nervous. Let her know that you're there, even if you're nervous. It's okay for you to say, I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm here. Be there, be strong for her. Pay attention to what she's asking and what she's not asking for. If you can, make it all about her. But don't you worry, if you love your wife as much as it sounds like you do, you will know what to do in the moment. And again, best to ask and listen to what she is wanting from you. And congratulations. Don't be so, I can't say don't be nervous. It's a big deal, but congrats on things that are happening. And this is really a positive thing. But yes, I was just talking about transitions and how things change. And so make sure that you continue to hear and listen and communicate, because much as a new baby is a blessing, there is a bittersweet lining to everything, unfortunately. I feel like I keep flip-flopping. I feel like I keep flip-flopping on whether or not I want to stay in my marriage. Should I bring this up to my spouse? Yeah. Now, I'm going by the bit that you've told me, but I think we have to realize here that if my husband is wondering whether or not he should stay married to me, shouldn't I be the first to know? And sometimes what you really need is an invitation to talk about the hard things and to let yourself. Now, some people cannot have those conversations easily because they never have, and now things are falling apart. And so that's okay. It's okay for that to be difficult. And maybe you need another person present, maybe you don't. But there is courage in having the one to say, I don't know what's happening here, but it sure doesn't feel very good for us. Or there are many ways to do it. Bring it up in terms of, I read something which is true. If you're not happy, there's a good chance that your spouse, your wife, your husband isn't either. And so you could bring this up. And this is what you say. I heard today that if I'm unhappy and wondering whether to stay in my marriage, it's possible that my spouse is experiencing the exact same thing, which is true in some hidden way, whether they're talking about it or not. So talk about the hard stuff. And perhaps it is the not talking about the hard stuff that has landed perhaps you in a situation like this. That's just me sort of guessing. Do you realize you are eternal? Not sure what that means, but if it's a compliment, thank you. If not, then I will, thanks for the comment. All right, what have I got here? 12:19. All right. Somehow I got double booked into an appointment I've got about less than 10 minutes. Okay. My mother-in-law tells that I try to steal her husband. Let me read this again. My mother-in-law tells people that I try to steal her husband while currently engaged with her son. We want to save money by living free at his parents'. Now we moved out and I can't talk to her. It does sound like there's some kind of unhealthy dynamic going on here, but just so you know, you can't be responsible for what other people do, right? And, we can only deal with what is ours. And so we can't make people do things. We can't make them love us. We can't make them stop doing. We can't make them say something. We can't make anybody do a dang thing. I mean, you can try, you can encourage, you can let them know. But understanding where you end and somebody else begins is an excellent way, an excellent display of a healthy emotional boundary for yourself. All right. So if you have any questions, please put it in the comments below. This will now be uploaded into the playlist and you'll see it. It's on there. It'll be under live and it'll also be under the playlist of lives. So feel free to comment there. I am here to help. If you haven't followed me or subscribed to my channel yet, now is an excellent time to do it because I am here doing my dangdest to write whatever little bit I can write for anybody who might need it. So thank you so much for keeping me company in this journey. I will be back same time next week and hopefully for a little bit longer if there is a need for it. And again, from my heart to yours, thank you for spending the sacred and beautiful moments with me today. Thank you.